Hey guys, and welcome to the Igloo. Today we're going to be showing a breakable elevator entryway so that it can be even 10 times harder for a raider to get in. So this is a setup that I have been working on, and there is another YouTuber that I got this inspiration from. The link will be down below of his YouTube channel. The biggest thing that you can see right now is that I'm burning the door, I'm burning the wall, and I'm burning everything so that I can try to get into this spot. And this spot has the elevator, but wait, now there's a door here, so I can't even call for the elevator because it is on the other side. Now I just show by going to the door right here. I'm just God mode right now, so I'm just like, whatever. But as soon as it dies down, then you're just like, oh yeah. So now I actually hit it because I hit it square between all four like you do in Rust. It makes it so much easier. So when I got to the very top, I start trying to break this and throwing through the door because you can throw orbs through the door and then you can light it through the fire. Right now I don't have God mode on at this moment, and you'll see in a little bit when I do fall after I burn the rest of this door. So you're gonna be like, yeah, what's going on here? You can throw orbs through doors? Well, this negates that exploit and keeps your base safe. So you just fall down and it breaks that one tile. It breaks the ladder going to the gateway, and you cannot go in from that kind of manner. The biggest thing that you have to do is have the top T1. So while you're doing this, here's just the build of it. You have a hatch, you have the inverted walls, then you have the ramp, and then the door. First thing you have to do is literally get your cren down, or your fence, because fence is a little bit cheaper than cren, and you put it just high enough so that they can't head stack enough to get up there. Now that they can't head stack to that certain height, then you climb all the way up to that point where you're just like, alright, I want to make something right here. So as soon as you start making it, you put the elevator down, you swap it, make sure everything's good. Now the fences that you put on the sides, you put last, but the most important thing out of all of it is to get these fires going. These fires are going to be very important once you get this structure. Now the reason why I'm putting the ramp on top of the other ramp is so that I have enough surface area for the next thing. The next thing is going to be campfires. Now this is already a known trick for a lot of the PvP community that is on Conan Exiles, but you can heat stroke the actual elevator itself by putting a lot of fires on it. So first, this is just a root test mechanic. You can just leave it down without having the first initial thing at the very bottom, but in my personal opinion, I would not do that. I would still like to have control of my elevator shaft. So when you get up here, you got to make sure that you crouch, get through the door, you get everything else done. Now, placement of the campfires. First, you have to scroll wheel so that you can get it to be at a diagonal angle, and then you have to rotate it with that said scroll wheel so that you can try to get it placed at these certain spots that I'm showing you here right now. Now, of course, you can get rid of this with a trap. 100% that you can get rid of this with a trap, and then you can get rid of the heat stroke. But then you also deal with splash to the foundation that is linking everything with the hatch. Stability is your best friend when it comes to this kind of situation. So all the stability is on the foundation directly below the elevator. So if you make something that has equal to or less health than the elevator, you're doing it great, and you're making sure everything is fine. That's what the main purpose of that is for that whole thing to be broken so that the raiders will have to choose another way to come up to your main entrance. So going into even further detail, T1, you have your hatch, like I was saying earlier. You put your ramp down. Once you have your ramp down, you make sure that it is facing towards you, just like in his video that he was doing. But this is just a different kind of iteration with just a step up with a T3. If you feel like your base might need a step up from having protection against somebody throwing snake arrows to your base. Big difference when it comes to something in this regard, because it can be climbable. if they get rid of the fires. The fires are your more important friends if they break over that one layer of cred. That makes it a longer duration raid, including everything else. Now, you don't just fire up here, you also fire downstairs, you fire all around, you make sure that it would be a living hellfire hole to just get up here at this certain point. Now, once you have this whole box down, you can go right ahead and put your fences down at the end, because the fences will interfere with everything but the elevator. The elevator is the only thing that doesn't get interfered upon. I don't know why, but it's just how the building structure is in its current state. Now, with having both sides done, and then you have your ceiling done, you got to make sure that you have your whole proximity around. Now, once you have the ceiling that's done right above the door, then you put the fires not only above the door, but also all around. This is something that you can make sure that could be a little bit better. Again, don't upgrade that T1 to T3. That's meant to be that way so that everything could just be broken off and they cannot raid that base through that way. And then it'll becoming even 100% more harder no matter how you raid it, whether it's an orb raid, a god raid, a gas raid, whatever. As you can see here in this portion, with Silent Legion and Ice and the special shield, I am still having heat stroke or too extremely hot. Now, I don't know about you, but you're not allowed to climb when you're taking damage. So I would not trust it when you're going around and then you're just like, oh yeah, I'm just cooling down. Oh, I'm very hot. This is just the first iteration. Can be easier if you put the ceiling that's above that T1 foundation just that little bit further in. And it makes it so much easier when you are trying to defend a base if they're not able to do anything in that regard. It's really going to be one of those fundamental things that you need to worry about when it comes to climbing, is that you put the fires down to prevent climbers. Fires are your best friend, even more than foundations, if you heat stroke it. There's nothing in the game that makes it so that there's cold insulated. I mean, honestly, I would have liked to have Witchfire to be like a cold production. But here's the next step. So you have the vertical elevator. So let's just do a example. Now, I did this in a older video. Some other YouTubers have done it in an older video. Honestly, don't do the DLC door front facing because they can climb the outsides, but I'm just doing this because I like the new DLC look. You have the door, you put it down, you disable auto close, you open the door. That's the first thing. After that, you pretty much put this like one recess back, and then you put a foundation. Once you have that, then you can put your horizontal elevator as you choose to get to your door. You got to make sure, again, you have the door open, but you got to worry about your spacing, your lining, your everything when it comes to setting up the side factorial for just that little bit. Now, it might not work at all times, so you might need to put it up and then delete it and then put it below, or you might need to go across like what I'm about to do here after deleting that top one, because as you can see on the top one, there's not really much space for you to even crouch. So you want to make it just one tile more down, or one block more down, however you want to call it, and you just get that little bit in that you really need. So once you get that step that you need, and you make sure that that elevator is placed, which is the biggest detail. Now, it can work, and it has been working. Now, honestly, in my opinion, this is considered a exploit when it comes to putting your elevator through the gateway door, but at the same time, it really works well on how you can design the game and everything else. It just works. It really does. Now, I just did that little trick so that you can actually see. You can actually fly with that as well. Just that's just a quick exploit that I've shown in the video. But once you get the actual elevator down, once you open the door, you place it down, and you have two things that are level to it. You got to make sure that you heat stroke that side as well. So even with somebody that just did that sword trick, okay, someone that just did that sword trick can still get heat stroke and cannot climb if flush and on the same level. You got to make sure that nothing is above it and nothing is kind of below it. But you got, again, heat stroke, one of the most important things. I can't emphasize it enough that heat stroke is something that's like that. It's a basic mechanic that is in the game so that you can heat yourself up in the north. Yeah, so once you have this, I mean, honestly, I recommend Campfires because they're the cheapest and you can get it done and you can just spam the living crap out of it. I mean, it doesn't look nice. The fireplace that you can turn on and off also does this function as well. But it offers you the added functionality to turn on and off your on and off the fires with the actual fireplace that is in Conan. But it's more expensive. It costs hardened brick, and I would not personally recommend it in my own situation that I would see. And when you are making sure that you are placing them, you got to make sure that you have enough for all heat stroke everywhere, which is very important, especially while doing base defense in Conan Exiles. I mean, honestly, I would tie this with a god bubble, and I would always have a timer. Currently, Darketo is the easiest god to farm when it comes to putting up bubbles. I would never use her, though. She's very terrible. But honestly, one of the best things that you can do is heat stroke, fences, very important. And then your last little iteration. Doesn't matter if it's on a heat stroke pillar, or if it's like on a pillar in the volcano, or if it's to an entryway to your base, or you want to just really secure that area so you can always have a secondary kind of location. This is also something that was on other private servers called farming spots, and you can use them for like the quick access into your base and out of your base, because instead of going through your 90 plus odd doors, then you can just go through like 2 elevators and you don't have to go through the 90 doors. And on top of it, you cannot be properly damaged if you're on an elevator by snake arrows, by any kind of thing, unless it's gas. But then all you have to do is just put a gas mask on and then you'll be fine. If you like this kind of video and you like this kind of explanation of how to do it, I mean, put a like and a comment down below. And if you like my kind of stuff, I have my Patreon and everything else set up. And have a good one, guys.